Okay, I'm gonna go over how you can display all of your assets on screen with a single like string of text inside a text document. So I have this screen. It's empty because obviously there's no sprites. It's 1200 by 800, and I want to display sprites that are 40 by 40 pixels in length and height. So it'll be a screen full of tiles that a sprite can move around. There will be platforms. So if this is 40 by 40 pixel, if they're 40 by 40 pixel sprites, it'll fill the screen with 30 tiles going across the screen and then 20 tiles going down. So I have this text document inside my assets folder, inside a rooms folder. It's called 0.txt, and this is the line of text. You can see there's 4 sections divided by dashes, and each section has 2 characters and 3 numbers. So these two letters are a tile ID, so like the ID of an image. And then these 3 numbers are however many I want to be displayed in a row. So if I run this again, the program is going to display each tile across the screen, and once it gets to the end, it's going to go down another row and keep displaying tiles, go down another row. So how this will work is it'll start with AA299, and it's going to look, oh, okay, AA means I need this tile, because it's AA, it's like the ID or the name of the sprite or tile or image or whatever you want to call it. Let me go back to this. And 299 means that it's going to display 299 of them, like in a row, and then skip a row. It's going to display 299, and then it's going to go to the next, which is ZZ001. It's going to display just one ZZ, and then 30 ACs, and 270 AFs. So I'm going to go back into my main file, and I have this empty asset setup function. This will be ran at the beginning of the game, and it's going to set up all our assets. I have a variable called self.room. This is going to store the room number. You can see that it's 0, and the text document is also called 0, so if you wanted to change this to 1, you'd have to make a 1.txt. And then I also have 3 sprite groups. One is self.spriteGroup. It's just going to contain the sprite. A background group, which is going to be all the sprites in the background that we don't want our sprite to interact with, and a foreground group that we want our sprite to interact with. So maybe if we touch it, it'll cause a collision. So I'm going to go into my asset setup function, and I'm going to make a variable called room, and it's going to open assets/room/ self.room, so this variable .txt. So this is just accessing this text file in my assets folder. I'm going to make 2 variables called x and y. This is going to be the position of the tile on screen. So these are going to increase in increments of 40 if I want my tiles to be 40 by 40 pixels large. I'm going to do a for loop, and it's going to be for line in room, this text document that we opened. And I'm going to make a new variable called tiles, and it's going to split this line in our document based on its dashes. So if we go back to this, all of these tile IDs and the counts are divided by dashes. So this easily splits up this all of these 5 character strings into a list. And so we can loop through this list, so for tile in tiles, to access each item in this list. And then we're going to do another for loop called, that's going to be for tile count. You can name this variable whatever you want. Tile count in range. I don't know why there's an equal sign there. So it's going to be integer tile 2 and up. So this is going to be, this integer tile 2 and greater is going to be whatever number we put. So I made sure all of these are 5 characters long by adding unnecessary zeros. I didn't want it to be like this because it would make it harder to do. Like ZZ1, it would be harder to access or split the characters from the numbers. So I just did a 3-letter number, or 3-character number, 3-digit number. But anyway, so it's gonna go through. It's gonna loop. This for loop is gonna loop 299 times, at least for the first string. Then it's going to loop once, then 30 times, and 270 times. And then we are going to do a couple of if statements. So if tile 0 to 2, or up to 2, this is going to be the 2-letter string. We're going to check first if it's equal to AA. AA in my assets folder is just an air block, or just it's completely black. So we want this to be a background block because we don't want our player colliding with the air. That doesn't make any sense. So we're just going to make we're going to call an object, we're going to make an object instance. It's going to be, its position is going to be XY, these 2 variables. Its size is going to be 40 by 40 pixels. The directory for the image is going to be assets / tiles / obviously AA. And then it's going to be in the self.background group. And then we're going to set the image. Then we're going to check if the tile is ZZ. And for me, I don't have a zz.png anywhere in here, so I set this to a new ID. You can set this to whatever ID you want. This is what's gonna activate spawning the sprite. So we want something in this text document that tells the program, hey, I want to spawn a sprite at this tile location, or this location on the screen. So I just set that to be ZZ as the indicator, and we're gonna make a sprite. The position is going to be XY. Make sure you put this inside a tuple. The size is going to be 40 by 40 again. Image directory, I'm just going to do assets / sprite left 0.png. Its group is going to be self.sprite group, and its collision group is going to be the foreground group. Don't make this the background group, or else it's going to collide with the air. We're going to set the image. And then finally, if it's anything else, so any of these IDs other than AA, we're just going to make an object instance, except we're going to put an F right here so we can like put variables inside the string. And we're going to make this whatever the tile is. We're going to set the image. And then finally, we obviously want to increase the X and Y variables, or else they're just all going to be at 0, 0. So after every loop, we're going to add 40 to X. And if this X eventually equals the screen length, the screen's X length, which is 1200 in my case, you can see down here 1200. If it equals 1200, we don't want it to start displaying off screen. So we're just going to reset the X variable to 0, and we're going to add 40 to the Y variable. And then so when we run this, and make sure that you write your file locations correctly, like I did not do, we can see that if we go back here, AA is our air, so it does 299 of these. We can sort of tell because if it were 300, it would be like something like 30 times 10. This is 10 rows probably. I don't really know. But it does 299 of them. Then it goes to the next one, ZZ001. ZZ I made is this like the spawn position for the sprite, so it goes right there. It's going to do 30 ACs. AC is a sort of dash block, and then the rest is AF, which is all white. So then I can run around, and I realized one thing actually. Make sure you set this to foreground group. I already did my sprite movements and collision, so that's something I'm gonna challenge you to do on your own. But I can run around with my sprite and make it jump. I'm not colliding with the black or the air blocks, and I'm only colliding with these white ones at the bottom that I want to collide with. Yeah, that's because anything else is in the foreground and the air blocks are in the background. But that's basically a mini tutorial on how to get your sprites on screen without, telling the program in a weird way. Alright, yeah, that's it. See ya.